Loser Coin is a new coin that has been spun up on Binance Smart Chain based out of China. Now, I just thought this was so interesting because we've been talking about Doge, we've been talking about all these other things, and Loser Coin was essentially, it was come up with as an idea of like, oh, these two devs were like, we're losers, like we missed out on the bull market, we're like too scared to get in now, and so we're just going to spin up this token and have some fun with it. And it's sort of been adopted as like a lovable loser idea for a lot of people who see themselves as losers. And it's kind of fits, I was talking to our colleague Moyao Shen who wrote about this, and it fits with a sort of self-deprecation culture in China, and also sort of this idea of mom and pop investors who play the stock market, you know, kind of calling themselves chives jokingly as they're getting like devoured by sort of large institutional players that they see as never really having a way to win over. So Loser Coin is factoring into all of that. It's now trading on exchanges and actually has quite a sizable market cap in some ways. So this is kind of the latest like joke coin that's out there. We're seeing more and more of these come up, but this is one I have an affection for because of the name and the mindset that seemingly goes with it. But group, what you got? I just thought this one was a lot of fun.
I never thought I would hear you say that you have an affection for a joke coin, Ben.
I do today. I do today.
Yeah, I want to hear Naomi's thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, let me just shout out Moyao Shen because she's doing really great work sort of uncovering like these cool communities, especially in Asian markets. She's like, we was looking at Shiba Inu coin, Loser Coin. Each of these kind of coins, like they do have this kind of interesting sort of cultural phenomena that emerge around them. So she's doing a really good job of unpacking some of those interesting sort of communities. So just a shout out to Muyao's work, which has been pretty stellar on the market scene of late. But yeah, I mean, BSC, man, Binance Smart Chain is just a hotbed of like funny, weird, strange, off-color, like you know, token name coin projects that I won't mention here on TV because it's not super classy. But you know, this is sort of an example of that, where this is a hotbed of innovation where all these projects are flocking to. So to see this one kind of take off the way that it has is interesting for sure. Naomi, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, I want to dive into what you were saying about this cultural phenomenon around it. So the idea is, I mean, coming from this self-deprecation that Ben was talking about, I mean, you have small players in China who are really feeling like they're being eaten up by the larger players. They're feeling like they're being exploited by big institutions, that there's no ability for them to make money because at the end of the day, it's all going to be ripped out from underneath them. And this idea of chives, like you said, Ben, it's, you know, common vegetable in Chinese diet, and the idea is that they're ripe for harvesting and ingesting by big players and resigned to major losses. So, I mean, it's not unlike the culture of crypto in general. So it's interesting to see this other layer underneath Bitcoin, right? Because crypto really was about democratization of money. It's about, say, we're taking power back from institutional players. We're not going to be ingested by you anymore. We're not going to have our savings inflated away because, you know, you want to favor the incumbents. You want to favor the pockets of big financial institutions by, you know, taxing away our dollars through this hidden tax of inflation. So, you know, it is very interesting to see this one layer deeper and for them to be recognizing that Bitcoin is kind of this institutional thing now, and you know, they can't make any money on it. They missed out on it, and so they're trying this other thing. Like, I mean, it's kind of this interesting idea. I very much disagree with the Bitcoin being seen as like an establishment, an institutional play, because they're saying, they basically said people are turning to tokens that are more grassroots. Like, there's nothing more grassroots than Bitcoin. It's an entirely grassroots phenomenon that now institutional players are getting involved with. But I do think it's kind of interesting that this, you know, give power back to the people ethos is so prominent in this culture.